Shabbat Shalom. We'll invite Linda Barr, our temple president, to share words of welcome and announcements with us before we begin our service.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to thank Jeff Klein tonight for participating in our service by doing our candle blessing and our Kiddush. Next week, we look forward to hearing from Rabbi and Toby Horowitz about their recent trip, as well as celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. That's pretty big. So they are also having an oneg after services, so if you have not already done so and you want to attend the oneg, please RSVP online. Don't forget that the last Shabbat of the secular year will be online only on December 29th, and everyone looks forward to that because that's a great year-end recap that we all enjoy seeing. We have 2 classes starting in January. The adult Hebrew classes will be taught by Becky Rubenstein. There will be 9 classes starting on January 17th until May 15. Cost is $65 for the set of 9 classes. And if you are interested, contact Becky. And finally, in January, Marty Cohen will teach 2 one-hour sessions on great Jewish musicians, 24 artists spanning eras, styles, and 9 different instruments. Classes will be 7 p.m. on January 3 and 10. There's no cost, but if you're interested, please contact Lauren Trexler. Shabbat Shalom.
I think the Waldman O'Neills are also blessing Torah this evening. That's right. So we thank them as they remember their father Neil this evening. Let's turn to each other, say Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everybody. We invite Jeff Klein forward as we also remember Eileen on her yard site. We invite Jeff to share with us the blessings over the candles and the Kiddush. And Jeff, if you want, you can read one of the passages that's on that page before the blessings.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generation of Israel who kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. O source of light and truth, creator of eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
You can light the candle now.
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'zivan l'had l'ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Jeff, if you'll hold the Kiddush cup up, we'll join together in Kiddush together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yam techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinkaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
Page 10, we welcome each other as we welcome Shabbat. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im. How nice it is for us to be together. Page 10 in your prayer books.
Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'mana'im, shevet achim gam yachad.
Words often used as a love song. You find them on the opposite page, page 11, some of them with this rendition of Dodi Lee, as we turn our thoughts towards the joy of being together, the loves that we have in our lives, and make that a part of our Shabbat.
Dodi Lee, vani lo, haroe, haroe, bashoshanim, haroe, bashoshanim, Dodi Lee. All I am is yours. All I am is yours. All I am and all I ever be is yours, is yours. Dodi Lee, vani lo, haroe, haroe, bashoshanim, haroe, bashoshanim, Dodi Lee, haroe, bashoshanim, Dodi Lee.
We continue with that same theme. The words of Lachadodi, page 20, ask us to invite Shabbat into this room and into our lives, as though we are welcoming the one that we love, as though it is a day of celebration, because it is a wedding, as we welcome the Sabbath bride into our sanctuary, page 20.
Lilchadodi likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela Lilchadodi likrat kala yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Hishmi'anu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad Ushmo Echad L'Shem U'Tiferet V'Litila L'Chadodi Likrak Kalai Yalalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Nekavela L'Chadodi Likrak Kalai Yalalai 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 B'nei Shabbat Nekavela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor habaracha Merosh mikedem zesucha Sof ma'aseh b'mashkavat hilah L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela Hitorari ki ba'orech kumi ori Kevod Adonai alayich nidla L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Please rise as you're able in body or spirit. Face the entrance to your sanctuary, to your home. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gama v'simcha uv'sochola, toch emuneh, ama segula, boi chala, L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela L'chadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
We turn back around as we remain standing, page 26.
Yikadav Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv V'imeru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'alamo me'amaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'Kodesha barichu Le'elah min kol b'chata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma Ve'imeru Amen. Page 28, our call to worship as we face our ark. La 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 la
is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. One who leaves the circle of herself, sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection, and there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song.
Baruch atah Adonai, Amari, Aravi.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows, the more it gives. So what could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form?
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim,
Amo Yisrael. Pages 34 and 35 are Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated, page 36. We join together in V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meotecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher Elohim mitzavecha hayom alavavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'leftecha v'derech u'shokbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
On page 41, as we prepare for the words on page 40 of Mi Chamocha, I imagine these words were put to this prayer book with a sense that they were only about history and not about the present. And yet, too often we find ourselves saying these words and thinking about images we've seen just earlier in the day, places we know well, places we visited. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Mi kamocha ma'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele, malachutecha ra'u vanacha vokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam ze li'anu le'amaru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
Spread over us the shelter of your peace, God. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Hashkivenu, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Hamideinu shalom. shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chayim, l'chayim,
We turn to page 46 as we invite all those who are able and willing to stand as we turn to our Amidah. Our prayer for personal words that we need to say in this evening, our prayer that reaches back into the history of our people, and we would say now across the globe, as these words we share together, page 46. First, for the ability to be able to pray our words with authenticity.
Adonai
sefatai tiftach
ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, Lama'an Shemo V'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Torah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechokel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenai Avar, Nichamocha Ba'agavurot, Umido Melech, Melech Memit Umekayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ve'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol.
Atah kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah sela, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You, God, are the still clear voice within us. So when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds our minds, we look inward for the answer to our prayers and pray that there we find you, along with courage and insight and endurance. Let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. Page 60, our prayer for an overwhelming sense of peace to find its way into our world.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Shalom Rav
Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon L'chol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon L'chol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov b'yeinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. Etov v'chashav b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Take a moment for our own personal prayers. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to step down here so I can walk around without falling off anything. It'd keep you awake, though. So this, we're in the section of Genesis that is overwhelmingly the chapter after chapter about Joseph. It's the Broadway section. And so we start, so last week in Torah study, in fact, we talked about, as we started talking about Joseph, we were reading this passage. It's the passage with the Technicolor dream code. It's not described that way, but it's similar. And Joseph tells his brothers, as the text says, Joseph was his father's favorite, that Jacob loved Joseph more than the others. So we get that. That's the setting. The text is pretty clear about that. And then to sort of add salt to the wound, as it sounds, Joseph then turns to his older brothers and says, I've had 2 dreams. Not only does Dad love me more, but I'm going to eventually rule over you. And after the first dream, they say, did you really say that? And then he says, well, actually, I had a second dream just to reaffirm that you believe that I'm going to be the brother who rules over you. And we debated in Torah study as to what the tone of that was. And I'd like to believe perhaps it was more matter-of-fact than anything else. It ends up being true. At the end of the story, Joseph does, in fact, rule over his brothers. And he does become Pharaoh's right-hand man, and they end up going to him, as we'll read in a few weeks. They end up going to him in great need, not even recognizing him, and he can actually do almost anything he wanted to them because he became so powerful without them knowing. So the dream comes true. In this week's Torah portion, Pharaoh has dreams, and the commentary tells us that when he tells all of his servants his dreams, none of them want to interpret the dream because they are too afraid to tell him the truth. They understood, one commentary says, they understood his dream, which was about the upcoming, if you may remember this from your religious school days, 7 years in which there would be food and then 7 years of famine, right? So the commentary says it's not that Joseph understood the dream. Other people understood the dream. They just didn't have the guts to explain it to the guy in charge. So Pharaoh calls this guy Joseph up from prison. He says, hey, I've heard that you're pretty good with these dream things. And he says, can you interpret it for me? He doesn't, so they really get into this word interpret, meaning that Joseph's the only one who will tell him the truth. And Joseph tells him, there's going to be 7 good years and there's going to be 7 bad years. And then, of course, at the end of the Joseph story, which we'll read a few weeks, his brothers come before him, as I mentioned. He's accrued all this power and influence. They're starving, as the story tells us. And they come to him begging, more or less. And in that moment, he turns to them, and instead of, after they threw him in the pit and sent him on this journey, instead of punishing them further, he tells the truth. He says, actually, I'm your brother. I'm the one you threw into that pit, and I want our family to be back together. I'm shortening it a little bit. People call Joseph a dream interpreter, but I want us to think about him differently. I think he's a truth teller. He's got the guts to say what needs to be said, what is actually true. I'm your brother. There's going to be a famine. One day, you're not going to be my big brother's able to throw me in a pit. One day, you're going to wish that I could give you whatever you wanted. Throughout the whole story, he tells the truth. We don't like it necessarily, but we can't say he's not honest. Rabbi Larry Kushner writes about the difference between fact and truth. He says, a fact is always the same. Once you learn it, you have it forever, but truth is different. Once you understand a truth, you are forever changed. So facts, what are those? Facts are like the earth is not flat, right? Your heart pumps blood through your body. 1 liter of water weighs 1 kilogram. These are facts. They don't change. Truths are more complicated. I'm your brother. There's going to be a famine. We're going to go through hard times, so we better get ready. Those are truths. They aren't facts. They can't be measured necessarily. You can't say that they're definite even. But so often we mix up these two definitions. We're looking for truth, but what we talk about are facts. Last week, 3 university presidents did exactly this. They sat before Congress and they were asked to talk about something that's a truth. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct? Their answer was a fact. It depends on the context. Now, that might be a fact. I imagine they had some very well-priced lawyers who helped them come up with those words because their words from all 3 of them were very similar. But all the politics and the setups or whatever interpretation aside, the question itself is not a question about facts. The question is a question about truth. Is it okay for somebody to call for the mass murder of someone else? The truth is no. If they could answer with truth, perhaps we would have learned something different, or perhaps we would have understood how we are changed, which is what truth does, like when a brother you don't recognize tells you he's your brother. Perhaps it would have shifted our conversation in a more positive way. Instead, we get stuck with the facts, with the parts that scare us, with the things that feel unchangeable, because that's what facts are. Truth is deeply important in our tradition, so important that in the Midrash they tell a story about when God created human beings. God was asked what was the most important element to put on earth with human beings. Is it peace? God said, no, they can figure out peace on their own, even though we have a hard time sometimes. Is it justice? No, they could do that. They'll figure out how to balance justice. Is it loving kindness? No, it is truth. Truth is something so hard for humans to hold on to, we must help them with that. And so it is said in the Midrash, God sent the angel of truth down to earth to help human beings. And we might say that without truth, peace is not possible, that without truth, justice is unbalanced, that without truth, loving kindness is simply superficial. Because if what you're saying and loving someone else is just words, then are you really loving them? If it's not true, then it doesn't work. And so tradition tells us truth is actually the primary element. When we go to honor our loved ones, the very first words we say, as many of you have, at their graveside or at the funeral is Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Blessed is the God of truth. Some people believe traditionally that this is a blessing that invokes God's plan. In other words, this is all part of God's plan that my loved one died at this time. God is a God of truth. I think a better interpretation is that what we're blessing when someone dies is not their moment of death or the days that they lived, but the truth that they brought into the world. What was it that they brought to us, that they meant to us? Not how many years they lived, not even their titles of father or spouse or president or whatever they were. What did they mean to us? That's the truth. That's the blessing. What did they mean to the world that they were involved in? Do we need to forgive them? Is that a truth that we have to ask ourselves? Did they forgive us for what we did to them? Those are truths. Those are things can't be measured, but they're real, and they make a difference. There's a reading in Kabbalah that I found that compares truth to a seed, or something that's concealed. It says, a seed is concealed in the ground in order to produce a tree. So too a baby, concealed in the womb before born to the world. Even electricity, concealed in a wire before it reaches a light bulb. So too, it says, the truth is concealed in us, and we have to reveal it. Joseph was a truth teller. He revealed things. They were there already. It was already happening that there was going to be good years and a famine, if we believe the story literally. It was already true that his brothers were his brothers. He just revealed that that was what was there, which is the power of truth. It opens up potential. Potential to deal with the reality of an oncoming drought, potential to deal with increased anti-Semitism. If it's true, then we can deal with it. If somehow we say it's not there, or we say it depends on the context, we can't deal with it yet. But if we're honest, and we say, well, of course, if there's anti-Semitism, we're going to deal with it, then we're telling the truth. It's also the potential to see an opportunity that we might have missed, like seeds or babies or electricity. It's often concealed, and yet when we realize the truths in front of us, there are all sorts of possibilities that open up. And so people ask me a lot, for a few years now, but especially lately, where do we find hope and optimism in such a increasingly dark world? I think this is one answer. In figuring out what is true, not facts, but what are the truths that we have to live with? What would Joseph show us that we don't see ourselves? Things like, what's the value of life? The need for hostages to be with their families, the need for children not to be afraid in Israel, in Palestine, in our schools, the need for peace in order for people to prosper. None of those are facts, they're just truths. Things that, if we hold on to them, I believe will open up opportunities that will take us out of the places that are too dark and, like electricity, turn on a light. Show us what is there in our opportunities ahead of us. May we be honest with one another, open to each other's truths, to our stories, and may the possibilities for a brighter future be ours to share. Shabbat Shalom. We'll now turn to hear those some of those words as the portion that Cantor Kathy's going to read tonight from the Torah is the latter story of Joseph talking to Pharaoh and interpreting the dream for Pharaoh that's about to pronounce that there will be 7 good years and 7 bad years. If you remember correctly, I think the section that we're reading is about the corn. There'll be the corn stalks that grow and the corn stalks that die, and then there's the cattle that eat each other. That's if you remember that. The Torah had a great imagination. So we'll share that story as we focus on the truths and the facts that are before us. Please rise as we turn to our Torah service, page 250.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udavar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadalu Adonai iti, Uneramema Shemo Yakdav. Lecha Adonai Hagedula v'Hagevura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Hahod. Ki ho b'shamayim uvaretz, ki ho b'shamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamid naseh lechol rosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'alam, ha'alam, amen. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'alam, ha'alam, amen. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Can be seated. It's an honor to have the Waldman O'Neills up on our bima as they honor the memory of Neil and share the blessing over our Torah. So, whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Amvarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Yosef bal Paro, Chalom Paro echad hu et asher ha'Elohim. Oseh higid lefaro, Shabbat Paro hatovot. Sheva shanim chena v'sheva hashibalim hatovot. Sheva shanim chena chalom echad hu v'sheva haparot harakot v'haraot ha'olot acharehen. Sheva shanim chena v'sheva hashibalim harokot sudufot hakadim yiyu. Sheva shanim ra'av ra'av hu hadavar asher dibarti el paro asher ha'elohim osech hara'eh et paro hine sheva shanim ba'ot sava gadol b'chol eretz Mitzrayim.
And Joseph said to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's dreams are one and the same. God has told Pharaoh what God is about to do. 7 healthy cows are 7 years. 7 healthy ears of corn are 7 years. It's the same dream. The 7 lean and ugly cows that followed are 7 years, as are those 7 empty ears of corn scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It's just as I have told Pharaoh. God has revealed to Pharaoh what God is about to do. Immediately ahead are 7 years of great abundance in all the land of Egypt. After them will come 7 years of famine, and all the abundance in the land of Egypt will be forgotten, as the land is ravaged by famine. No trace of the abundance will be left in the land because of the famine thereafter, for it will be very severe. As for Pharaoh having had the same dream twice, it means that the matter has been determined by God, and God will soon carry it out.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. With our Torah out, we take a moment to offer our prayers and our strength to those who are suffering in this moment. The words of Misha Barak, page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
If you have any names you'd like to share, please share them as we look around the room.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah, Shlema the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please stand if you're willing and able as we lift our Torah and share our scroll with the community before we return it to the ark.
Dota Torah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael avi Adonai b'yad Moshe yadadai dai dai yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 Etz Chaim hi lemachzikim ba v'tomacheha meushar v'racheha rachei noam v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu
Page 282, Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekedu l'aliotzer b'reshit, shelo asani k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchakenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד Ushamo echad.
Please be seated. It's a fearful thing to love what death can touch. It's a fearful thing to love, to hope and dream, and to lose. Some would say it's a thing for fools. And yet it's a holy thing to love, for your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was once a gift to me. To remember brings this painful joy. And yet, we affirm that it is a human thing to love, and a holy thing to love what death has touched. This week, in our congregation, we remember those loved ones that we've lost. First, those that we've lost in this last month. Deborah Curzon Cloner. We add to her name those that we lost at this time in years past. Conrad Ashkedel, Regina Beck, Maren Schwabel-Bean, Sam Burloff, Madge Birnbaum, Melvin Cohen, Shirley Cohen, Maxwell Ellick, Irene Leaner Farkas, Samuel Fetterman, Shirley Felder, George Holtzel, Gertrude Kahn, Seymour Kaplan, Robert Cass, Leona Kirschner, Eileen Klein, Alan Lessing, Morton Levitt, Raleigh Marks, Ida Morstein, Mary Myers, Lillian Nyman, George Noble, Joseph Osseroff, S. Plachek, E. Rosenfeld, Sherwin Rubin, Saul Schlitt, Esther Schulman, Kenneth Allen Silver, Irving B. Sugarman, Dan Teitel, Bennett Teitelman, Samuel Tuckman, Estelle Waingar, Neil Waldman, and Alexander Williger. If there are names I mispronounced or names you'd like to share, please add them. Page 294, we say these words cherished by our people as the words that recall the memories of our loved ones, mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam almei almaya, Yit barak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'maru. Amen. Having connected with our loved ones that we've lost, we connect with those near us if we would like, as we bless each other with the words of the priests. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May you feel God's presence within you always. May you find peace. Please be seated. We'll take a moment for Shakyanu moments, for moments that have been good and inspiring throughout our week. If anybody has news to share, we encourage you to share with us. Do I have news to share? My kids got 8 nights of presents. So my kids would share 8 things with you for each. They would. I'm surprised that no presents in the O'Neill household.
You got the best present.
Yeah. Yeah. My kids, yes, they're picking on me because I got a new car that requires no gas. Correct.
Ah.
You can all guess which one it is. Just don't. Oh, thank you, Moshe. Oh, look. Wonderful. I'll look at him up. Thank you, Moshe. He's always prepared. Good job. Other Shekianu moments? Oh, nothing. It's a lame Hanukkah you guys had.
I got to spend 5 days with the whole Nog family in Omaha.
Yes. And for those of us who know the Nog family, because we lived in Omaha, that's like a third of the population of Omaha are the Nog family. So it's a lot of people. Yeah, Tina.
Took 3 generations of my family to Michigan for a weekend last weekend.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Turned 8. See? During Hanukkah. That's like the double credit. That's great. All right, Jim, last one.
We had 3 members of the family get promotions.
Oh, wonderful. 3 promotions. See? Look at this. You wait a little bit. These are good things. Turning 8, 3 promotions is good stuff. All right, so we'll say Shekianu, bless all the good things happening in our lives. We hope for many, many more and to be with each other to celebrate them.
Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
join together as we'll bless our challah, and then we'll close with a closing song.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Let's hear it.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yavo Yisrael, ve'yavo yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Shalom aleinu, ve'yavo Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Shabbat shalom.